on this little gnome home that we have here. So it finds me, and I'm walking around. After I clear that one, lo and behold, the next camera picks me up. See a little red rectangle, continue along the way there. Alright, hey everyone, this is Nate, and this is the Nader Tater channel. Alright, today let's talk about security cameras. Now, I have a lot of cameras at my house here that are both wired and wireless. And this setup here is from Onwote, which is kind of a unique name, but this was a product that they have given me to test out and share what I think about it. And like I said, I have probably tested 60 to 70 cameras, or give or take. I have about 40, 45 actually working on my property, and most of them are Wi-Fi based. There are downsides to Wi-Fi based ones, and this one here is a power over Ethernet one, so that's using Ethernet cable to go back to a NVR, or network video recorder. So I'm going to talk about maybe some of the pros and cons of that. I'm going to go and set these up. I'm going to go through all the settings to show you what the different features are, and of course share some of the video with this device. And so first I want to hit on, these are really marketed kind of towards commercial, so small business that needs it, but obviously you can use it for your home too. And the big downside to power over Ethernet is that you gotta have Ethernet cable that goes from the network video recorder to where your cameras are. And so if you don't have easy access to get up into an attic space or to get out to wherever you need the cameras to go, then that's kind of a big task to DIY. So on a business, especially if you have a lot of like drop ceiling, that kind of stuff, it's much easier to do that kind of thing. The benefit though of the Ethernet is that you don't have any batteries, you don't have any Wi-Fi concerns of signal quality or being jammed by intruders. Like right now, some of the, I think they're gangs that are coming from like Central America, and they're coming up and they're hitting high profile neighborhoods, and they are literally jamming the Wi-Fi for Ring cameras and that kind of stuff. They're very vulnerable to that kind of thing. So Ethernet gets rid of that concern. The other thing that it gets rid of is any kind of battery or power needs, because the Ethernet provides the power. The NVR actually has built-in PoE for each of the ports, so that powers all the cameras. So it's a nice self-contained system there. Additionally, when I talk about self-contained, you can have it all contained, and they don't provide you a monitor like a TV screen, but if you add that in there, then you can see all of your stuff there, and nothing goes over the internet. In fact, the system can not even be hooked up to the internet, and it can be all self-contained. So that is the most secure method. Now, I'm going to hook mine up to the internet because I want to be able to use the app, and there's a browser interface and a computer interface, and you can view it remotely. So I can be anywhere in the world where I have internet on my tablet, and I can view all of my cameras all live all at once. So that is one of the differences between kind of the home consumer ones, wireless ones, versus the more business-based ones. Is they're really designed to be standalone, self-contained, and hardwired, so they're more reliable. So the storage is all on the NVR. So I think this one comes with a 4 terabyte hard drive. You can expand that up to like 20 terabytes or something. The 4 terabytes gives you about 2 weeks of recording with the 8 cameras. So I have 8 cameras recording at 4K, and I get about 2 weeks of recording doing that. Obviously, you can add more cameras or have less cameras, and that changes the recording, because it just does like a loop where it deletes. So I'll go into all the different settings. It does like motion detect, that kind of thing, and pretty good there. Price-wise, this runs about $800. They do have coupons that go on help it go on sale. Check out down below for a link to get the best price. And then they have many different systems. So they have smaller systems, they have bigger systems, and this system itself is a 16-channel NVR, but it comes with 8 cameras. So it has room for 8 more cameras, and you can pick any of their Onwote cameras of different styles to use to add to this system. So before we get too far, I do have to say, please consider hitting that like button right down below, and then also consider subscribing to my channel so you get more content like this, and that helps support my channel to keep growing. So before we get any farther, let's do a quick unboxing, and then we'll go set it up. so here's what it comes with in the box. Now, obviously, there's 8 cameras in this one. Now, they do have different kits that have different camera options that you can pick from. All 8 of mine are of this style, but they make different cameras, or you can add them to your system. So with each camera, it comes with the connections here that gives you the option to do power over Ethernet, which would be if you directly plug into this guy, this will do power over Ethernet for them. Or if you need to get them to a place that doesn't have the power over Ethernet capability, you can power them with the 12-volt plug here. That is optional, and then they give you the little weather tight RJ45 connector for them, and then of course some mounting screws for these guys to get mounted up. So I'll have to see how these get mounted later. But then each camera comes with a 60-foot Ethernet cable line. So this is designed to go from the camera back to this main NVR. So this is your main recorder and your brains of the system. It has a standard 110-volt power adapter and a shorter cable. I'm not sure how many feet this one is. Looks like maybe 3 or 4 feet. And the idea here is that this unit is in some central location. And then on the back side of it, it has the 16 Ethernet outputs that go to all the cameras. With this kit having 8, it means I'm only going to use 8 of them, so I can expand this to another 8 cameras of my choice. And then it does come with a little mouse. It is like a half-size mouse. And then the idea here is that you use this mouse plugged in directly to here with the HDMI output to a monitor, so that you could see, for example, if you want to have all your cameras set up and viewing them 24/7 live, you could have that in here. So that would be one arrangement in here. And then you have your main Ethernet cable that goes from this guy back to your own network switch or router, however it gets internet. You have VGA option for a monitor. You have audio in and audio out as well as an option there. And then you have your main power switch. And then let's see what else we got on the front side. We have just your lights that tell you if it's connected and working. Then you have a USB 2.0 connection there as well. I assume that's maybe if you want to take some data and put it on the flash drive. I'm assuming I can probably save the data to that flash drive and take it with me if there's a specific interest there. So inside this book, it does have a big Get Support sticker on here that tells you how to get email support. And then on here is a quick user guide, installation instructions, and support and warranty information. So I look in here, they have warranty support for 1 year from the date of purchase, and then they allow you to call, or you email them and then they will call you, and they'll give you a ½ hour to 2 hours of tech support window, but to do that they do schedule the call back to you. Okay, so these instructions here tell you how to use the weather tight Ethernet connector, and then they also tell you how to get the camera apart so you can get access to actually put the screw holes for mounting for both this turret style, the bullet style, and the other style cameras that they have. Alright, so this is twist off counterclockwise. This is a plastic snap ring. The rest of the camera itself is actually feels like aluminum, so that's a nice obviously sturdy material there. And then now you can see that you have access to the screw holes. Each camera here has 3 screw holes that it's used to mount to the surface. And so what I might do just to get familiar with the system is I might go ahead and install this here just on the desk so I understand how the system works and get one camera set up. And then I'm going to move this outside to do some more intensive testing with it. Alright, so I grabbed my tablet here. I'm going to scan this QR code and have it go and get the app. So E-Link Defense is the app name. Okay, we agree to their service agreement here. Do a security verification here. It's kind of unique. Okay, so now it's going to email me a verification code. Alright, so I'm signing up for the app. This is different than obviously logging into this device. Alright, so I can click Add Device here. And now what it's going to do is I want to scan the QR code to add this device. So I'm going to have to give it permission to use the camera. And then we can go in here and scan it, and it is going to register the device. Okay, so there we go. That was actually pretty quick and easy. Let me go in here and go to the next now that I have the device added. Alright, so you can see the first camera right here. I'm going to go ahead and open up the app, and then at the top I hit the play button because now it's actually going to connect all of them and it's streaming all of them. Obviously my tablet is on Wi-Fi, everything else is on Ethernet. So here you can see me in the top left, And as soon as I move, you can see that it picks me up. And then if you look down there, there's other cameras all around back behind me. We're gonna walk down past them. And I'm just gonna watch this and see how it performs. It should be tracking me most of the way. So I'm almost in frame the entire time. This is actually the only time I think I'm out of frame of any of the cameras. But as soon as I cross this corner here, I should pop up. There I am in camera number 3 there. And I'm walking past camera number 2 on that board. So now that one is picking me up. There it goes. I guess that one's a little bit, I might have that camera turned a little bit, but that's okay. As I come down here now, the next camera picks me up on this little gnome home that we have here. So it finds me and I'm walking around. After I clear that one, lo and behold, the next camera picks me up. See a little red rectangle, continue along the way there. Then as I come through here, now I get picked up by another camera and another camera. So it's always tracking me. So, you know, what's really cool about having all of these multiple cameras is that I get different angles and I get different ways to track myself. Now, these do not pan or tilt, which is both a downside and upside. It makes them cheaper, but you can see that this one is able to track me very well, going all the way over here to these tennis and basketball courts. It starts to lose me right there, but that's several hundred feet away. So that's pretty good detection that it did there. So that's how these cameras work at daytime, at least. I'm gonna mess with the settings and look and see what all they have as far as what can I change. But in general, this is actually pretty impressive for just a plug and play system without changing anything. Now it's recording all of these all the time. I can go in there and check, but I think it's 4K recording. I think it's 20 frames per second. And it is doing something like 1.8 megabits per second. I'll show you some settings here on the tablet, and then I'll keep messing with it. I'll do some nighttime stuff as well. Another camera. So it's always tracking me. So, you know, what's really cool about having all of these multiple cameras is that I get different angles and I get different ways to track. Okay, if I come down here now, the next camera picks me up. Here, so it finds me. I'm walking around after I clear that one. Next camera picks me up. Okay, so what I did is a really quick and dirty setup where I just ran the Ethernet cable across the ground. And I'm doing this to do a demonstration. I'm obviously not keeping this installed this way, but I have my Jackery little Explorer 2000, which is a little portable battery power unit. And you can see that this guy, even with all of them plugged in, is only pulling about 58 watts, 60 watts of power, including the TV. So this Jackery will power from about 19 hours like this, so plenty of time for me to do some testing here. And I am having all 8 of them set up. You can see on the screen, probably not very good with the camera, but they're all working, they're all live. But then I also have the app. So what I'm gonna do is walk around. The only settings I really changed on it is making sure that if the camera was like upside down or something, I flipped it right side up. And then, but all of the other default settings for detection, tracking of a person or a vehicle, I haven't even touched those yet. So I'm just gonna see how it works right out of the box, just plugging it in. What I will say that I really do like about this is I literally did not need to use the app at all. I could just plug it in and use the TV, but the app is nice. Bonus, now they also allow you to go on the computer with a computer app as well as a browser. So lots of different ways to access it. To me, honestly, that's too many. I probably want to just have the local TV with a mouse and then an app, and that's all I need to have. All right, so let me go through some of these settings. The display, it does have a couple different options. You can see I'm right here in the middle. And it's nighttime, so it's obviously dark. But you can change this layout, this multi-layout. I can do like this layout, where it has the main one, and I'm pretty sure I can change, drag and drop the different ones. So if I want a specific one to be the main one, so if I want to have me in the main one, you can just drag and drop it, and this is the big one, and then these are your other cameras. So you can pick the layout that works best for your own setup. I can go here to the menu now. I can see here lots of different options. There are more options on the NVR TV itself than in like the app, for example. And so in here you have the camera options. You can change all their passwords, get different details. You can change their resolution. They're all set at 4K by default for this setup. But you could change that to a lower resolution if you want. You can change the bit rate, frames per second. It can be adjusted up to 30 frames per second. Obviously it takes more storage if it does that, but you can do that by camera. And you could also do like a copy on the bottom here, and then you could paste it. So you could pick which settings you want to paste over to which other cameras. The only downside is it doesn't label them your label. It labels them by 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have to remember that. Like if I have it labeled as a deck or a playset, that doesn't show up here. It's just the D1 through 8 that shows up here. And then you have the audio screen. Now this is where a little bit of unique stuff happens, because it has options in here with the cameras that don't apply. So like this one, there are no options for audio on these cameras, but they are recording audio, but I can't seem to adjust that setting for them. But I have confirmed it does actually record the sound from the camera. Here's a snapshot. So if you ask it to do a snapshot, this will tell you what resolution it does. On-screen display, this is if you want the name of the camera and the time or date stamp on there. You can adjust those settings. This is where you can change the brightness of it. You can change if it has to be rotated, either horizontal, vertical, or 90 degrees one way or the other. You can change exposure and white balance. So lots of kind of nice features. That's by camera that you can change. A privacy mask. So this is where you can add an area like a black rectangle. You can add up to 4 of them to always block out so it doesn't record that. So for example, in this one where it's looking inside my house, maybe I want to put a privacy mask around that door so it's never recording the inside space. That would just be one example. Pan, tilt, zoom. These do not have pan, tilt, zoom, but it sort of looks like it gives me options to play with things, but of course it doesn't work because these don't have pan, tilt, zoom. This VCA, I don't even know what it stands for, but it's their like intelligent, their AI detection. So this is where you can set up by camera what kind of detection they have. They have face detection, cross line detection, intrusion detection, enter an area detection, leave an area detection, as well as things like sound detection and whatnot. And then VCA search, this is actually really handy. It's kind of weird to me that it's in the menu thing, but in here I can go for a human body search or motor vehicle search, and you can put a time frame. So if you know something happened yesterday and it was, you're looking for a person that came because you were closed, you could click this and click search, and it's going to show you all of the times that a human body was found. Now it's playing this one, but all the human bodies were found. You can change it by a camera or whatnot. So this is really handy because it allows you to not have to go through a whole timetable to find when something went in there. And like I said, it can find vehicles, people, non-motor vehicles, and you can change it by date and time. All right, next we have network. This is just telling you what your network configuration is. You probably don't need to mess with that. For most people, if you do, there's information in here, as well as DDNS. I guess one thing I will mention, I did not set up the DDNS, and this was able to actually work for me right out of the box. I was able to go on the internet, not be on my local Wi-Fi, and I connected to this with my app, and it worked. So I was kind of impressed. I didn't have to do any kind of setup or configuration for this device to be accessible from the internet side without any unique configuration setup. For the system settings, you can change obviously the device name here, give it different IDs. That would be if you had more of them. You can change the preview settings. This is where you can lay out your setup and you can determine which cameras go where. You can move them around. You can change what type of output they have. You can adjust your time, your users, so you can add multiple users here if you want to add just users that can view stuff but not actually change it and delete it. You can add them here. And then here for security, if you want to do any kind of specific firewall or blocking, you can do that kind of stuff. They have a few other things up here as well. ARP protection, watermark for the channel and whatnot. The backup, this is where you could plug in something to this USB and then you could back up all of the recordings from a certain date or time or type of event all over to a backup hard drive or flash drive. Image, this is okay, this is where you can save the snapshots as well, so recordings and snapshot. And then this is the storage. This is telling me that by default everything is always recording, but then you can also have motion detection and that kind of stuff shown here as well. Maybe this is where I pick audio storage. This is the only place where I've seen where there's an audio storage thing checked box. So maybe this is why mine records audio. Snapshot schedule, same thing. If you want to have snapshots taken. Hard drive, this is telling me this has a built-in 4 terabyte hard drive, which means it has about 3.7 gigs usable. And so this is where you can keep track of that. If you had groups, you could do that. Allocate space. This is if you want to give them a specific amount of space for a specific camera, like maybe you want one camera to record, keep 2 or 4 weeks of storage, and then another camera you care if it has a couple days. You could change that here to allocate more disk space to a specific camera than another one. And then advanced, this is where you can tell when the hard drive is full, do you want it to override or stop recording. Most people want to overwrite stuff, but you can save, you can lock files so that they do not get deleted if they're of interest to you. Alright, so for the alarm, you can have alarm set up by camera, and it can be based off specific type of action that happens, and then you can enable that. So again, that's all by each camera. You can set up specific detections and motions. If there's tampering that's going on, if it detects a human body. Now the human body one is actually off because they have this thing called smart motion detection, which is their AI, but it's a little bit confusing. I just left it on the default. It does actually seem to work pretty well for detecting the human body. And then when there's a video loss, it will have a trigger or an alarm for that. There is alarm input and output triggers on the back side of the unit, and this is where you can set those up. So if you have door alarms or other types of alarms that you want to trigger the recording of your videos, you can have that set up in here in the settings. You can have different alert types if something is, you know, your disk is full or you have some type of issues. You can have it send an email to you to warn you or make a noise or buzzer or whatnot. Alright, so audio detection, my cameras don't support it, but some other ones do support it. Buzzer, this is where you can set up for that alarm what type of buzzer goes off when it sends that off. Doorbell call, I don't think I have a doorbell call, so that's why it doesn't show up here. People present, you can have it set up so that if it detects a lot of people, then it will trigger. So if you have a collection of people, it will actually trigger a alert. And then here is one key disarming. So if you want to be able to disarm by schedule, you do that here. All right, so in here is the maintenance. I'm covering up the QR code because then you could scan it and add it to your app in there. But it tells you your model, your serial number, or whatnot. And then over here you have my cameras. It will tell me if they're online or offline. So all mine are online and working, and it tells you if their different detections are enabled or off. And then recordings in here, this tells me what it's doing and the bit rate and the frame rate of all these cameras. And then let's see, I have my users when they're logged in, that's just me. And then my disk again tells me if it's full or how's it doing. My network status, so this is showing you network traffic that's live. You can do a packet capture. You can do network test where you can check out to see how they're working if you're having problems with them. You can see some more PoE status. You can see I have 1 through 8 all powered up, and it's telling you how many watts of power each camera is taking. And then lastly, you can just tell the network statistics of bandwidth going in and out. Logs, system backup. So if I want to back up the system, I could do that here. You could restore it. That's probably a great idea for you to do once you get it all set up. Back up those system settings so it's easy to restore if you ever needed to. And then you can set up auto restart and auto delete of files in here if you wanted to. System upgrade is just for firmware upgrades. And hard disk drive, this is just telling you if there's any issues with it. If it's not healthy, you know, it will show up there and tell you that there's problems. Hopefully warn you before it actually has a hard failure. So this just collects data of the past you know, several days that you can have all the logs and diagnostic information and operation stuff. So that's the main interface for this system here. And then if I go back to here, I can again change a few more things. If I click on one of these cameras, I get a little drop down where I can do some extra settings in here. Some of these are not applicable, right? So it has pan tilt zoom. This can't do pan tilt zoom. Local recording, it's already local recording on this device. Instant playback just goes back 5 minutes and plays the last 5 minutes. Digital zoom, snapshot, on-screen display. Two-way audio, that does work. If I do that right now, it will do a feedback echo loop for me, and then this is telling you how well it's actually recording live here. So anyways, it's pretty easy to use, pretty straightforward. It was super easy to get this set up and plugged in, and it just kind of works. All right, so hopefully this video helped you out some to understand what the capabilities of the product are, as well as the pros and the cons to it. From what I saw, I did not mess with the night settings a whole lot. But for at least my use case where I was closer to the camera, I was getting a lot of washout from the IR light. They do have the ability to adjust that, so I could probably do some adjustments there to help with that at the nighttime. Otherwise, the quality is pretty good. It's not like the 4K quality that I would say I'm used to, like on my cell phone with that kind of video, or the camera that's recording this right now. And that's because of the compression that they do on this. So it is pretty clear though, and it's good. I do like how quick and easy it is for me to view all of the cameras at once on the TV monitor or even on my tablet. That is a very nice feature that typically I do not see that kind of bandwidth that you get with the Wi-Fi ones, right? They're typically slower, especially if you're trying to watch multiples at a time. So from that side, I see this as a nice system, and I do really like how easy it was. I could literally not deal with any of the phone or the tablet features or the computer features. I could just go take the system, plug it in through the Ethernet, plug in a TV monitor to it, and it's up and working, and it's automatically recording 24/7. It's automatically detecting humans and cars. So for about 90% of the people, it is very much plug and play system there that gets you up and running. And then only for the advanced users that really are going to nitpick or want specific setups, they're going to have to go in there and mess with the settings themselves. Okay, so if you have any specific questions, feel free to put them down in the comments below. I do try to read those comments and respond to questions if I can. And then we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks.